Now we're going to look at some of the other methods that are available on the built-in date object so we can format our time a little more nicely than this. I'm going to open up the JavaScript console to experiment with this. So I'll hit Command-Option-I here, open up the console, clear these messages. First, I'm going to give myself a date object to play with. So I'm going to create this with a name of D, just like I had before, the new date. And this returns a date object. Now remember that we have the string version of this, so toTimeString. So if I wanted to start to do some reformatting of this, I could consider just trimming off everything that comes after that. So we could save this as a string, toTimeString, and then I could use the substring method and just take off everything up to, say, the 8th character. That would give me this, but it's still just a string. Instead of kind of twiddling around with this string, let's build a new one based on what we actually want to appear here. The date object has many methods for us to try. If I start to type this, almost all of these are going to start with get. You can see in the autocomplete list, there are a lot of them here. And if I start to type get, I limit things to only those functions that start that way. This being a clock, I'm going to want the hour and the minutes. So we have a method called getHours. Let's see what that does. Okay, I get 13, just like I saw here in the string. Likewise, there is a getMinutes function, which is going to give me the minutes. And of course, we have lots of other things like you might expect, like get the date and get the day. Now note that these are also returning numbers. Some of these we might expect, some of them we might not. We'll look at them in a little more detail a little later on. And then, of course, we have toTimeString, which we've already seen, and toDateString, which gives me a string just representing the date. So we have lots and lots of options here, but for our purposes with this clock, we just need the hour and the minutes. So let's update our code to account for what we actually want. First thing I will do is get the hours. So I'll set a variable for the hours, and we'll use getHours here on that date object. And then I'm also going to need the minutes. So we'll do this way. I'll set my hours and then concatenate on a little time separator. We'll use a colon. And then concatenate onto that the minutes. We'll just do that directly in line right here. I'll save that and we'll give it a try. Switch back to Firefox. I will close the developer tools and refresh. And there we go. This is a time. Now, it's still formatted this way in the 24-hour version, and I'd like to do it as the 12-hour version. So I'll switch back to my code and do an operation here on my hours. Basically, if the hours are greater than 12, I'm going to want to take off 12 hours. So I will just say hours equals hours minus 12. That works. I could also rephrase this a little more succinctly by using the minus assignment operator here. Hours minus equals 12 is the same thing, just a little shorter. So I can save this and try this again. There we go, 1:32 in the afternoon. If you're thinking ahead here, you may be wondering what happens when the clock strikes midnight. That's another edge case that we'll be dealing with a little later on. But now we've seen some of the methods that are available on that date object to give us different components of the time and date. There are going to be instances where we'll need to reformat them even after we extract just the piece that we want, because the representation of that number in JavaScript may not be exactly what you want when you bring it into your page. But there are quite a few options and lots of flexibility.